Hey guys, Lord here, back in with another action figure review. Today I'll be taking a look at the Masters of the Universe Origins Turtles of Greyskull Donatello, brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel. And as I mentioned in my Leonardo review yesterday, at this current time I should, quote-unquote, should have all of the current offerings from this Turtles of Greyskull line, so brace yourselves for a Turtles of Greyskull marathon. Whether you like it or not, my hypocrisy shows its ugly face once again, and I picked up all of this shit. So we're doing this, for better or for worse. So before I get too far ahead of myself, though, why don't we cut right to the chase and take a look-see at all Donatello has to offer in terms of accessories. He's got a big old shtick with a club on. Very hollow plastic, but it is hard plastic, so it's not gonna warp on you. I'm kind of surprised this piece doesn't turn up here, but yeah, very big, clunky, and awkward, and compared to him, about as tall as the figure. That said, if you think it's big, clunky, and awkward now, wait until the Man-at-Arms review tomorrow. That said, that's his only weapon, which kind of sucks, but you know, it is Donatello. He uses a stick primarily. They at least upgraded it and gave the poor bastard a freaking mace on the end so you could, I don't know, actually beat the shit out of somebody. That said, he does come with a mini comic with the little pamphlet in case you're a simpleton and don't know how to take apart your figures. And on the back, got all of the offerings from Wave 1. These two are coming up on the bottom there. And that's your lot. So, taking a closer look at Donatello. A lot of people's favorite turtle. And while I can understand that to some extent, because he's probably the most relatable, I don't know. He's not my favorite. He was the first turtle figure I ever got when I was a kid. I think it was Price Chopper. They had an end cap with the 4 turtles from the 2003 series hanging out on there, and for whatever reason, I grabbed Donatello first. That said, my childhood Donatello has seen better days. His bandana is all chewed up and missing paint. For some reason, it's not chewed up, but this part here, it's like stressed a lot. And I bought a replacement fairly recently, the past few years or so, from my good buddy Tom Chaplin of Geek Culture Podcast fame at the Saratoga City Comic-Con one year. So, you know, shout out to him, giving me a deal on that. But, yeah, Donnie was the first turtle figure I ever got. But not my favorite. My favorite's always been Raphael, and we're going to be looking at him real soon here. But pretty cool looking figure. You know, he's merged with Man-at-Arms. That makes sense. He is the guy who does machines, after all. That said, one thing I noticed that's funny, he's got an elbow pad here, like a straight elbow pad. None of the other turtles have one of these. Like even Raphael, who only has like one piece of armor on his whole, you know, both arms, he doesn't even get one of these. But he's got this, he's got an armor piece here, and then he's got 2 shin guards. However, if he's really supposed to be Man-at-Arms, he only needs one of these. And I think instead of having 2, I would have taken a belt piece, because he seems very skinny at the waist compared to the other 2. And I said in the Leonardo video from yesterday that they looked a little pinched in at the waist. Well, without that belt, they look really pinched in at the waist. And, you know, these are turtles, so they're kind of not supposed to look like that. They're kind of supposed to be one solid kind of chunk. And having that skinny waist is very awkward looking. However, this is Origins, and I'm probably overthinking it. That said, he does have the shield on the back. I'm not going to take that off. And whatever. Because we already did that yesterday, again, in the Leonardo review. But you can fit this staff in here. And yeah, clunky and awkward, right? I'm not going to do that. He's just going to hold it in his hand. That said, it is a little tricky to push out of here. So actually take this behind camera so I don't screw anything up. There we go. I wouldn't say that weapon's flimsy, but I wouldn't push on the skinny part. Be careful with that. So as far as his articulation goes, his head can look up and down, tilt a little bit, rotate side to side. And unfortunately, his bandana does not rotate at all. And unlike his brother Raphael, who again we're going to be looking at in the next few days here, his helmet is not removable. It is a solid piece glued onto the head. And that kind of sucks, because the other turtles, you could take all their head accessories, is that the right word? Off. Even Mikey's douchebag surfer hair is a removable piece. So, you know, it's kind of a shame that you can't do the same for Donatello, but whatever. His arms will go out, go back down, then rotate forward and back. He's got a single elbow, which works fine even with that elbow pad there. He does have a swivel in the elbow, a swivel in the wrist with a hinge. Waist twist, kind of a little loose but not floppy. Hips, can go forward, back, out, back in. He's got a rotating knee with the hinge. He's got a boot swivel with a hinge in the foot and a rocker. And I will say the shin guards fit a little bit more snug like I have them. They're not flopping all over the place. But I do not care for these strap thingies kind of just jutting forward. So if you're handy with a knife or a pair of skizzers, you could probably clip the end of this off. And only have that one tab there, and that way you can not have to worry about those things flapping about. That said, if you do that, I would just advise a little dab of super glue too, so it stays together. But I'm not into modding my figures like that, so I'm not going to do that. But that's Donatello for you. A cool figure. I like him. I think I like Leo a little more, but let's be real. Raph's my favorite. Raph is my guy. He is probably going to be my favorite of this bunch, despite the fact he has his own shortcomings, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, with that being said, now that Donnie is centered there, why don't we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Donatello, everyone else on the internet's favorite turtle, alongside my favorite turtle, Raphael, as well as Leonardo, who I looked at yesterday, so check that out if you haven't already. Would really appreciate it if you did. Of course, these are all decked out in their Turtles of Greyskull attire, and again, Donatello is very much the man-at-arms, Leo's the He-Man, and Raph is the Ram-Man. That said, Mikey is also the He-Man. So I'm not sure what the hell is going on there, but either way, I think they all look great together. I'm curious how Mikey's going to look next to these three. I think Mikey's a little bit garish, but that just seems to be a thing with Mikey. He's the party dude. He's a fun, happy-go-lucky guy. He would be the one to wear that douchebag surfer hair, wouldn't he? Instead, moving these two out of the way. Bringing our two regulars. Mythic Legions for the Mandibulas. There, and the infamous 11 Spawn, who, as usual, towers over everyone because, once again, he is not a 5.5 figure. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and aside from the sheer lack of any sort of belt-in or skirt armor piece, whatever you want to call it, around his waist to kind of help fill things out a bit. Looks like he needs a sandwich. And his weapon being a bit clunky and or awkward due to the size of it. Anyways, if you think it's clunky and awkward now, wait until you see the Man-at-Arms review I got coming up tomorrow, if these go up according to schedule. I have to say that, like Leonardo, I quite enjoy old Donatello in this Masters of the Universe getup. I think it's fun. I think it's creative. It makes sense. Doesn't have stupid douchebag blonde surfer hair. You know what I'm talking about. And I didn't have to overpay for it. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And until next time, I'll catch you guys later.